Welcome to Seattle Rotary Club. I'm Bob Nixon, and I would like to present President Sue Nixon.
Wait for a second.
Want me to wait here?
Wait.
Okay.
Thank you. Crying makes you approachable, right? Dad, thanks so much for being here. He's a 63-year Rotarian, and Dad is turning 90 this year. Yes. And just as an aside, he still water skis. His daughter would kill herself if she tried it, but this guy, so thank you, Dad. I've got another special guest joining, Burr Stewart and Virginia McKenzie on the opening song. Libby is my niece. She just turned 11. She knew I was going to be a little nervous, so she and her violin are coming up here to help in the opening song and to give support to all of us. Liv. And now Tom, come on up. I told him he couldn't completely vacate the podium, that he would be doing the invocations because I need some prayer, really.
And you thought you were finished with me. Shall we join in prayer? Dear Lord, as we start this new year, it is a time for new beginnings, as well as a time to reflect on our past. It is a chance for us to celebrate our successes and correct the challenges of the past. As a new year dawns for President Sue and her team, help us consider how we can use the upcoming year to make a difference in our Rotary community. Let us be thankful for what we have achieved and mindful of our responsibility to continue the good works of Seattle Rotary. Help us to fulfill our commitment to service above self and make our city and our world a far better place. And all God's Rotarians said, amen.
I want to add my thanks to Tom and gratitude for a year of amazing service, and bless you for answering my calls from this point forward for therapy. Yeah. So I have some special guests. Okay, This is where I forget to tell you to sit down, so please be seated. I have some very special guests here, so I'm going to introduce them and ask them to stand. So you met my father. He is the most inspiring influence in my life. From my first memories, he exemplified and planted the Rotarian seed within me. Dad, please stand. Alongside him is my second mom, his wife, Jean. They are reunited college sweethearts and just celebrated their 21st wedding anniversary. Yes. Jean, you've been an amazing addition to our family. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay, so you met my favorite niece, Libby. You need to stand again. She's brought her, my sister, Linda Crow, here today. You get to stand too, Linda. Linda's a labor and delivery nurse at Overlake Hospital. She has an unrivaled sense of humor and a super steady hand in emergencies. In contrast, I pass out cold at the sight of blood. She's who you want to have around. Her husband, Thad, is a studio engineer turned IT consultant. Thad and I started early on with music projects together, so he is like a brother to me. So it was a little strange when they told me that they were getting married. So my brother and my sister at this point are getting married, but they assured me that it wasn't at all weird for them. So thank you for being here. And then there is Lisa and Lori sitting over here. I met these two in college, and with each passing year, the depth of our friendship has grown, along with my admiration for them. They are extraordinary, generous women, and they're also really fun. Through thick and thin, they are family. Lisa and Lori, thank you for being here. You need to stand now. And for all the ventures we've had. And we've got a really big birthday this year, and here's to spending it in Paris with the two of you. Last but not least, I want to thank Nancy Cahill and Shirley Lansing. Will you please stand? These two were my sponsors years ago when I began Rotary, and they were mentors to me, they were supporters to me, they got me involved and asked and got me to say yes to things, so thank you so much. And Shirley, you can't sit down yet. As some of you know, Shirley joined Rotary in the first month our club accepted women, in 1987. She's been a pioneering business owner and an influential leader. I am among many she has mentored and encouraged along the way. Along with her part of the Rotary Rogues early on, Shirley also founded one of our most soulful committees, Rotary Cares. It's a quiet and mighty force that members discover when they need it most. Shirley is a Gold Star mom and the embodiment of service above self. I want to acknowledge your honorary membership, Shirley. This membership unanimously voted to honor you with that. Thank you for being here. Now over to Patrick and David on mics.
I have the honor of introducing the first lightning round of introductions of visiting Rotarians. Could you all stand, visiting Rotarians? And I'm just going to introduce one of you who came from Hawaii, Cindy Weldon. Where are you, Cindy? There she is, honorary guest. Thank you. All other visiting Rotarians, Ezra, any other visiting Rotarians, thank you all very much. Patrick.
Okay, thank you, David. At this time, we'd like for all of our guests to please stand so that we can acknowledge you and thank you for being here today. A lot of guests, thank you. So we're doing things a little bit different today. We're going to give the mic to Jim Liming, and Jim is going to introduce our new Rotary members.
It's my pleasure to be here instead of Charlie Dickey, who you might be more accustomed to hearing at this table. And I have a pleasure of introducing not only our newest members, but also a couple of prospective new members. I won't bother to introduce our fellow Rotarians who are helping me indoctrinate these people, Jim Odom at my left and Hamilton McCullough at my right. But otherwise, we have two prospective members, Nathan Hambley, Public Relations. Will you please stand, Nathan? And Michael McMorrow, whose job is going to be real busy in the near term because he is with Seafair. We have Yellow Badge new members, Suresh Ranchode, chiropractor. We have a fellow who's been working on his white badge for about 9 months now, Jeff Gill, pastor at Trinity Parish Episcopal Church. We have John Schroeder with Adamant Strategies. He helps U.S. businesses do business abroad in foreign countries. And at my right, an attorney with the Patterson Buchanan firm, Jay Blasey, specializing in civil defense. And last but not least, we have our chief of the Seattle Fire Department overseeing 1,100 firefighters and 100 other personnel, Harold Scoggins, an 8-year Rotarian at Glendale, California, one of our newest members. Please welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Patrick. Breaking news. don't fiddle with your TV. Your radio's doing fine. What is this news? It's one of our members. She was invited by the Office of the Vice President, Joe Biden, to attend a luncheon at the Department of State honoring the Secretary General of Vietnam, who was meeting with President Obama. She was summoned to the White House this week for a luncheon she just returned from yesterday. It marked nearly 20 years to the date that Peace Trees Vietnam began its work, taking mines out, building communities, reparations between the United States of America and Vietnam, and she is one of our members. Geraldine Brousseau, please. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thanks, Paul. If you haven't noticed, Paul Ishii is our Sergeant at Arms / floor director today. We're trying some new things this year, and one of them is having 4 different rotating floor managers. So you'll be hearing more from some surprise people in the meetings to come. So now Joe Phillips with our newest member.
Thank you. It's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce our newest member, Mike Burrows. Mike is managing partner of Fortis Capital Management, a wealth management firm, and he's been nominated by Todd Sommerfeld. Mike grew up in the Woodinville area, and after graduating from Woodinville High School, attended the University of San Diego. He graduated from USD with a degree in accounting and as valedictorian of his class. After graduation, he started working with Ernst & Young in their San Diego office, having grown fond of the region while in school there. However, it seems that his girlfriend at the time and now wife, Melissa, was keen to move to Seattle. Although an Orange County native, she was very aware of all the fine elements of Seattle living and persuaded Mike to move to the EY office here. Starting in middle school, Mike has had a passion for investments. Since at E&Y he was on the road too much and not in the Seattle office enough, he seized an opportunity to join Summit Capital, a Seattle-based hedge fund. From there, he left to help start Glacier Peak Capital and learned what it takes to launch an investment fund. And then in 2014, he and co-founder at Fortis, Paul Misla, and Paul is here today with us. Paul, raise your hand. Thank you. Founded the firm in 2014. Fortis does wealth management with a focus on equity investments for its clients. Mike and Melissa live in Wedgwood, and ironically, Melissa now does campus recruiting for Mike's former employer, Ernst & Young. Besides his passion for investments, Mike is very active in his church, Bethany Community Church, and enjoys water skiing, snowboarding, and traveling. Mike looks forward to being part of Rotary and is struck by the wisdom in the room every Wednesday that he's so anxious to take advantage of. And that is a good reminder for all of us. So please join me in welcoming our newest member, Mike Burrows.
Okay, raise your hand if you've ever sat at a table with Rich Gaspers, Herb Bridge, or Laurel James. Well, you know then that when you sit at their table, you get introduced, and that is what we want to do for the next, now it's only going to be 4 minutes, but will you introduce yourselves to the other members of the table? Those of you who are sitting at their tables have already done this, so you can just share some story that you would never think to share with another Rotarian during the next 4 minutes. So I want to just mention one of the things we want to do this year is do what we can to make sure that yellow badgers get integrated. It's so, we don't remember, it's been so long, but when you walk in afresh, even if you are an outgoing type A, which most of you are, it can be really intimidating. There's such a purr in this room, and a lot of people know one another. So I just encourage us all to pay attention, in particular to the yellow badgers. I call you that fondly. It took me a year, Jeff, so you don't need to feel bad about that at all. Just to help get them integrated, and I know each of us probably were asked, and that's how we got involved, so feel free to do that as well. So I just want to talk for a few minutes about our thoughts as a leadership team for this year. I work in a creative industry, both in my day job and in music. I've learned how vital it is to be clear about where you're headed while also leaving room for the unexpected. Our goal this year is to balance the tried and true with the unexpected. Not to break what isn't broken, but to take a fresh approach when it makes good sense to. Over the past year, I've done a lot of asking and listening. I've thought a lot about the club, about our value, and what we are best at. And I've heard from you about all those things. I've been struck with our passion to solve and our generosity to give. Perhaps most distinctly, our sense of duty to care for others and to do the right thing so that we leave things we touch better. The sensibility no doubt began with somebody pouring generously into us. Pay It Forward is about acknowledging our gratitude for the generosity of members who have laid the foundation, and it reminds us of the joy and the impact that comes from investing in the years and the generations to come. I remember Dr. William Faggy spoke a number of years ago and referenced building a cathedral that may not be finished in our lifetime, but will change future lives. That is a ripple of goodness worthy of being part of. That is why we're Rotarians. Thanks to last year's hard work, Tom and your whole team, I believe we are just where we're meant to be, and we are poised to build. We don't need to be massive. We want to be impressive. Our work is to remain relevant and vibrant, to grow membership by 5%, to remain financially healthy, and to operate as efficiently as possible. Our objective this year is engagement. To survey our members regularly and communicate with them often. Thank you, Ana Liata, for being our communications chair. There she is. To ensure our club is like someone you want to have at a dinner party. Intriguing to connect with, exciting to introduce, and disappointing to miss. To be a place we want to invite people we'd love to see or work with each week. A place that asks and invites our yellow badgers in to help ease the way into our potentially overwhelming size and purr. We are excited this year to engage a wide array of you, and I thank you in advance for saying yes. We have 27 committee chairs, and we have their co-chairs as well. We've got 48 program day chairs this year, and like I said earlier, 4 floor managers, and that's just the beginning. We have more involvement from our members than most clubs have in their entire membership, so I in advance want to thank you for stepping up. I don't know of any other organization like this one that comes together weekly, that spans generations, that digs into complex issues and shows up with a heart and a passion to do something about them. In honor of you and your investment in this club, our goal as a leadership team is to surprise and delight, to consider each moment, to have the courage to try new things, and to be loyal and true to our Seattle 4 DNA. Our distinct reason for being is to pay it forward. Our objective for this year is member engagement. Our goal as a leadership team is to surprise and delight. And our motivation through it all is quite simple: to make Seattle 4 irresistible. Thank you. Thank you. Now you get to meet the people that are going to do all the work. Vernon, come on. Well, I should probably introduce them so you know that they were actually the ones meant to be here. Ken Colling, our VP of Service, Bernie Griffin, VP of Membership, and Eric Slaybaugh, VP of Programs, and they're going to introduce one another.
Our new VP of Membership, of course, is Bernie Griffin. As many of you probably already know, Bernie is currently the Managing Director for Fifth Avenue Theater. She has served as a grants panelist for the National Endowment for the Arts, and she was recognized as one of the Puget Sound Business Journal's 2013 Women of Influence. However, many of you may not know that Bernie Griffin earned her BA at St. Martin's University when Dr. John Ishii, Paul Ishii's father, was the president. And while at St. Martin's, she was part of the catering service for Washington State Governor Dixie Rose Lee's inauguration ceremony. Many of you may know that Bernie's favorite movie is The Princess Bride. But you may not know that Bernie is the youngest of 7 children. And as that, she was a princess of her family. Her husband is quick to point out she is very hands-on princess, as the one who is always taking care of everyone else, including her 95-year-old parents, who she visits every weekend. Many of you know that Bernie is from Walla Walla, Washington, but you may not know that her dad was the all-estate insurance man at the Sears store. At the age of 7, she was a Shiner's princess of Walla Walla. At the age of 10, she had her first paying job picking strawberries for the Clicker family. She, in fact, was quite proud to be known as the Clicker Picker. As we all know, knowing how to pick them is an excellent quality for a VP of membership. Speaking of picking them, many of you may know that Bernie has been married to her husband for 24 years. You may not know that they got engaged on the 4th of July fireworks show, and she is the one that proposed to him. Some of you may know that Bernie's goal as our new VP of membership is to increase the connection between Rotary and each member. But you may not know that her real goal is that she just doesn't want to screw it up. We all know she has no fear about streaking her hair in various colors. Well, I know she will approach her VP role of membership the same way, with no fear, and she will do great. Bernie Griffin.
Thank you, Ken. Today, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce to you our new Vice President of Programs, Eric Slaybaugh. First, let me tell you a few of Eric's professional accomplishments. For the past 30 years, Eric has been CEO and principal owner of Absco Solutions, a security systems company, and he has also is the CEO of FCP Insight, a company serving the construction contracting industry. Eric is a person who strives to put service before self, and he has done so by serving on a number of nonprofit boards, including Seattle Rotary No. 4, the Columbia Tower Club Board of Governors, Seattle Crisis Clinic, Seattle Entrepreneurs Organization Board, and the Woodmore Elementary PACE Board. Eric has been acknowledged for his work by many organizations, including Seattle Pacific University, MIT, Bell Institute of Leadership UNC, and the Puget Sound Business Journal's 40 Under 40. In Eric's personal life, he aspires to be a good husband to Sarah and a caring father to their boys, EJ 12 and Evan 9. Hi, guys. He seeks to build sustainable companies, to be a faithful friend, to be part of something bigger than himself, and to make the world a better place. Being an adventurous man, these are some stuff you may not know about Mr. Slaybaugh. Eric has beaten the mule train up the South Kiabab, traveled to Havana, has ridden go-karts on the streets of Berlin, ridden a camel in Dubai, and visited 10 national parks in 10 days, complete with a family theme song. Oh my God. When Eric and Sarah started dating, he was in his early 30s, and she told him that she observed him to be either 12 or 60 years old. Basically, it means he is serious focus and discipline like a veteran businessman, or he is the only adult playing capture the flag at Boy Scout camp. He comes in two versions of himself, taskmaster or juvenile delinquent. There is absolutely no in between. During his year as VP, Eric hopes to engage our past, present, and future board members in the execution of 49 amazing programs, because each week we have the opportunity to inspire, engage, entertain, and enlighten our current and future Rotarians. And now, ladies and gentlemen and fellow Rotarians, it is indeed my honor and privilege to welcome to the podium your Vice President of Programs, Mr. Eric Slaybaugh.
It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce Ken Calling. Ken, Rotarian, CEO of Goodwill, retired. One of Ken's former Goodwill team members wrote of Ken, "Your sincerity is humbling," and went on to write, "Your ability to use humor and wit to break the ice, to emphasize a point, or to add to morale is wonderful. If you know Ken, you know he is truly humble and sincere, and he possesses a collection of ties to fit any occasion while providing a smile and even a laugh. Ken is a quiet, consistent, and steady leader who puts the people around him first. While attending Ken's retirement party last year, I saw a sea of people whose lives Ken had deeply touched, who praised him for his leadership, his compassion, his vision, and his care. Ken's goal for this Rotary year is, and I'm quoting, to be incredibly supportive and connected to our 8 service committee chairs to make their jobs easier and to drive our overall member engagement in club committees. Ken lives the statement that you get out of it what you put into it, while possessing the humility to state that sometimes making your mark means not messing up a good thing. Ken is a loving father of 3 daughters and 1 son, and grandfather of 5 grandsons. Daughter Erin says, "Our dad is an amazing leader at work, at home, and in the community. He is a competitive stair climber and pedometer wearer, a hat and tie collector, an avid local sports fan, be it Seahawks, Sounders, Mariners, Storm, but also the University of Washington softball, volleyball, and basketball teams, and a gifted speaker. He carried the Olympic torch for the 1984 Olympics, and he has a community room named for him in the Seattle Goodwill building." She went on to say, "However, Dad's greatest gift to us was his relationship with our mom. They loved each other truly, madly, deeply, and sometimes embarrassingly. They were a true team, and they brought out the best in each other. Dad called her every day from work, at least once, but often more. They made each other laugh, they wrote each other love notes, and they were a united front when it came to every aspect of their life together. We are the people we are today because of their strong relationship." Near Valentine's Day, I expressed to Ken that our family was super busy with kids' activities, and I was really missing date nights with Sarah. It was an offhanded and honest comment, but I realized as Ken's eyes welled up the sense of loss he was feeling for his beloved Jeannie, who he lost last summer. Ken quietly and compassionately said something we can all reflect on. "Eric, you can go home to Sarah and make the time." In retirement, Ken is traveling abroad and striving to visit every national park in the United States, a goal we share. We're going to have to talk about that later. While balancing his role as President Emeritus of Seattle Goodwill and his numerous community commitments such as Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, the Tabor 100, United Way, Seattle Green Partnership, and Youth Committee for Workforce Development Council. Clearly, Ken, you have a little to learn about retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Ken Calling, a caring, kind, and consistent leader, and your Rotary 4 VP of Service.
Aren't they cool? Okay, now I've got a lineup I want to introduce. So I'm going to ask you to hold your applause while I introduce the next year, the remaining executive leadership team, and then our board. So Paul has informed me we're going to do this at a clip. So please stand when you hear your name. Lisa Mayfield, second year as secretary. Thank you, Lisa. Carl Iggy would be here, but he tore his tricep and is in surgery right now, zip-lining in Alaska with his grandkids. So, yeah, he's no slacker. Chris Tiedemann, Sergeant at Arms, is in Scotland. So, introducing our board of directors, first year, please stand as I read your name. Roberta Greer, Trent Mummery, Allison Parker, David Siebert, David Woodward. Remain standing, please. New board appointed members, Dianca Lanier and Roberta Nestus. Second year, Steve Crandall, Pete Delaney, Charlie Dickey, Sarah Weaver. Third year, Einar Handeland, Harvey Rubenstein, and Bernie Griffin. And last but certainly not least, Kathy, it begins here, President-elect Kathy Gibson. Thank you. I am so looking forward to working with all of these people. Unless you've been to a board meeting, you just walk in and there's just this caliber of intellect and energy and optimism. So thank you for serving. Now I'm scared because I'm introducing David Fain, and the next 5 minutes are a mystery to me. So David, oh, sweet. So first of all, I just have to say quickly, Paul, that David stepped up to being this program day chair like his first week, and he had no idea what he was getting into. I am so neurotic sometimes, and this guy not only said yes, but he didn't run once he got to know me. So David, thank you. He's made today possible. Tons of details. Yeah.
So thank you for those kind words, and especially we wanted you to start your presidency off right. So from Tom Betts and our entire program committee, we wanted you to have a little gift.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, David.
From generation to generation, we can count the number of members who grew up in Rotary families. You can look around the room and see many of those. It's a testament to the conversations that we have around our dinner tables, our commitment to community, and to our desire to perpetuate Rotary's legacy. Today you are in for a special treat. Eric Slayball has sat down with Bob Nixon to discuss two of his favorite topics, Sioux and Rotary. Little did he know that 53 years ago, when he assumed the presidency of his local chapter in Oregon, that his daughter would follow in his footsteps. So without further ado, I hope that you'll enjoy this brief interview that Bob and Eric had.
Well, this is Bob Nixon speaking. I guess we're recording this for a program in Seattle.
And how long have you been in Rotary?
52.
You mentioned Sue's first Rotary meeting. She was how old?
She was a baby, not yet 1 year old. It was what we call Father-Daughter Day. I've been very active in Rotary for many years, and I just wanted to get her to in down and brag about her just a little bit. Sue has been very active in helping in Rotary. Forest Grove Rotary has a program called Concours d'Elegance. Have you ever heard of it? It's an antique car show, and we put a fence around Pacific University campus, and we have 300 to 400 antique cars come on show, and it's gotten to be one of the biggest shows on the West Coast, and we've raised close to $1 million in the last 40 years for scholarships. And Sue was very active in helping us put up that fence and do a lot of the work in those programs when they were still in high school and around here. The first exchange from start was one of Forest Grove Rotary. A Rotarian's son went to Australia, and that was the first ever Rotary exchange program. and we had about 6 or 7 students live here with us in our home.
Now, one of those students had a challenging name, I understand.
Athanatha Southdow.
I understand Sue had a little problem pronouncing her name. Is that correct?
Yes, that's a shame. Actually, everyone had trouble saying Athanatha Southdow, which was her name. And she watched a television program of a gunslinger. His name was Shane. She said, "So I'm going to be Shane." She called us quite much by surprise one day and said, "This is Shane. Can we come and see you?" She was the minister of Women and Children Affairs in the islands of Fiji.
Let's talk a little bit about Sue.
She was very active in high school. She was in the cheerleaders program for all the time she was there, and I think the last 2 years she was pep queen. That meant that she had to lead all of the pep assemblies before big ball games, and that was for the student body. She loved to be an athlete. She was fearless. In fact, in both snow skiing and water skiing, she was just outstanding, and there was just nothing was held back. And she could ski both water ski and snow ski with anyone. One of her first job, one day they were going to have a picnic at a lake. And one of the main announcers came around and started to ask the girls around whether they had ever water skied. And he came up to Sue and asked her if she'd water skied. Yeah, she'd skied. That was all there was to it. And then pretty soon he came back and challenged her to a ski-off at this program out there at the lake. She called me and she said, "Dad, will you send up my equipment? I'm challenged to skiing." So I sent this, and it arrived at work. And when it did, it started to get people betting. and so when they got to the lake, they drew straws, and Sue had to go first. And so she put on her skis, and Sue was a very aggressive skier, and she skis extremely well. And when she came back in, he took his towel and threw it in the boat. He wouldn't even try to ski. I hope that she has a wonderful time, and I know she will, because she enjoys people, and she has gotten to really enjoy Rotary. And I think probably growing up with it and seeing Rotary as much as she did here gave her an insight to what Rotary can be, and I think that she has really developed a kinship to the Rotary Club of Seattle. It means a lot to her.
Nobody is supposed to know that I was a cheerleader. Did you know that? Oh, Burr is. Oh my gosh. So this is my sister Linda. Linda and I just want to acknowledge you, Dad. In gratitude for your fierce integrity, for years of dedication caring for us, for your quick wit and intelligence, and for your utterly generous way of being in the world. You have taught us who we want to be, and what we want to strive to be in this lifetime. We want to present you with a Paul Harris Award, and I can't find it. So you're going to have to trust me. Sure. Yeah, hug Linda first.
Well, we've enjoyed Rotary together for many years. I joined Rotary when I was about 63 years ago. I was president in 55 years ago, and when I quit, they gave me a special little pin with a little diamond in the center of it. I've worn that for 55 years, and it's time to pass it on. Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Whew.
Sue, we need to pick it up a little bit, please.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, we are going to lighten it up here a little bit with a Garfield band. Come on up, you guys. So, as you know, Garfield, or as you likely know, Garfield High School is known for their jazz program. I am a fan and a doer of music. Garfield graduates in the house. Could you stand? I think they're right over there. Pretty impressive crew. Okay, they're joined by Ernestine Anderson, Quincy Jones, and Jimi Hendrix as Garfield grads. And I think you'll agree, actually, before they start playing, Michael, are you going to introduce your folks? Do you want to come here? Michael Dalton, trombone player, super cool. Would you introduce the crew? And then we're all curious what it's like to be in a jazz program like Garfield. So just one story, because we're tight on time and we really want to hear you play.
Yeah, of
right?
course. All right, my name is Michael Dalton, and I play the trombone. And this is just a collection of musicians from the jazz program at Garfield. So we have Patrick Mogan, excuse me. He plays trumpet. We have Fedor Paretsky, and we have Nikhil on guitar, we have Janak on drums, and we have Leah on bass. So recently, almost all of us got to go on a European tour to parts of France and parts of Italy, and I just wanted to share a really quick story about that kind of summed up, or was a really amazing part of the tour. We were in a small southern town called Touré, which we pronounced as Tourette's at the time, but it's Touré. And we were playing on a chateau maybe, and the entire town came out to watch us, and we had this whole lights program going, and we had like a steam thing underneath the stage. It was ridiculous. People really enjoyed watching us play there. And when we got off the stage after probably an hour set or something, the entire town stayed, and they all gave us a standing ovation as we walked to our bus. It was really, really amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was tremendous. Thank you very much. I'm Ralph Davis, and I have the pleasure of kind of winding up before Sue closes the program out. It's a great responsibility to follow this program. I'm amazed and a little nervous, but Eric Slabaugh mentioned earlier that this was kind of like a wedding ceremony, and I think Sue and Seattle 4 are off to a great marriage. Thank you very much. Several weeks ago, a number of Seattle 4 Rotarians were discussing the meaning of Rotary. Seattle 4, the four-way test, and Seattle's mission and our impact on our community and the world. You know, we create little acts that end up with having big actions as a result of our combined effort as a club and combining with other clubs in the district and the world. This led to a discussion of personal experiences regarding random acts of kindness that have made a special impact on both the people giving and the people receiving. For the Rotarians that are high type A personalities, we got a lot of them in here, and risk takers, I've noticed a couple of them have popped those envelopes that are in the middle of your table, the yellow ones that say, don't open until Ralph Davis says it's okay. I still haven't said it's okay. For the rest of you, I will explain. When the envelopes are distributed by one member of the table to everyone else there, at the end of the meeting, there's two $2 bills in them. there, we suggest you carry them in your wallet or purse, and they're to remind you that they're there to say maybe you want to make somebody else's day special by performing a random act of kindness. Because we wanted to see how this worked, we asked some Rotarians to test it out. I'll share, probably because of time, just one of these experiences. A Rotarian was in a deli, and a lady came in to pick up an order for her boss who was having a function. And when she finished, she paid for it and said, you know, I really can't afford it, but I need to splurge. It's my birthday. And she ordered a little lunch. And this Rotarian was at the cashier and said, anonymously, I want to take that lady's tab. Well, the cashier ended up making a scene about the whole thing, and everybody in the deli, the staff and the clients, knew what was happening. The woman thanked the Rotarian, and as the Rotarian left, turned around and led the entire staff and patrons in happy birthday to Michelle. Michelle left with a big smile on her face, and it's just one of the examples of how you can change someone else's life. We all do special things for special people in our personal and our business life. What you do with the $2 bills is entirely up to you. The funds have been provided by Rotarian Seattle Forum members that support this program. Your action can be anonymous, it can be identified. It can be very small or it can be substantial. It's subject to your willingness to take action that surprises and delights, as Sue says, as part of our Pay It Forward program, someone else, usually that you don't know and you may never see again. It's truly a joy to try to live the four-way test and give people a reason to be happy and smile, even for a fleeting moment. And my fleeting moments are about here. I just got the sign that I got a minute left, and I'll tell you, this is a great honor to be part of a little bit of this program and to say to all of you Rotarians who do so much for the world and our community, thank you very much and congratulations, and you can distribute those $2 bill envelopes and have fun with it. Thank you very much.
Is he not the perfect guy to do that? Okay, so as you're getting your envelopes, I'm doing a really quick job of the announcements because we are going to finish on time. First of all, we've got an after party starting tomorrow night. So every Thursday night after our Rotary meetings, we're going to have an after party where we can continue the discussion from the meeting and just have a more casual way to hang out with one another. So Mayflower Park Hotel tomorrow night from 5 to 7, and they have created at Oliver's a four-way test drink, is it? We have a special cocktail. So that's worth showing up for. Okay, we also have a continuing dialogue with race relations. It's going to be with Dr. Robin D'Angelo, and it's going to be at Florence Klein's house at 6 p.m. on July 28th. You guys read your totem. All the details are in there because I'm screaming. Bastier's Sacred Seeds Project is having a work party coming up on July 18th. And Rear Admiral Jeffrey Ruth is inviting Seattle Rotary members to a submarine tour and facilities at the Naval Base Kitsap. That's happening on August 20th. So next week, July 15th, we're at the Sheraton, and we're going to hear from Rhonda Heiler, a communication guru who will speak on understanding our communication style. Dorothy Bullitt, she is the program host for next week, so it will not be anything but a stellar program. Okay, 30 seconds. My CFO used to say, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right now. So let's do this.